Project execution is the stage of the project life cycle in which the work is completed, and the project plan is implemented. However, the planning and scheduling of a project is only the beginning. The majority of a project's time and effort is spent during its execution. As a result, in project management, execution is key. So, today let us have a detailed explanation of project execution and understand them in a broader context. Hey guys, this is George from Invensis Learning. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Let us look into the agenda of today's session. Firstly, we shall understand what project execution is. Then, we shall check why project execution is required. Then we shall understand the project execution process, including many knowledge areas. Then we'll get to know the stages of project execution and end the session by knowing project execution strategies. What is project execution? The project management body of knowledge, PMBOK, states, the executing process group consists of those processes performed to complete the work defined in the project management plan to satisfy the project specifications. In general terms, the particular stage of the project where everything your team has planned is put into action is known as project execution. The third stage of a typical project lifecycle, which consists of 4 stages, initiation, planning, execution, and closing, is execution. It is frequently the most time-consuming and difficult phase of the project lifecycle. You're rolling up your sleeves and putting your project strategy into action when you say you're going to execute it. So said, you're carrying out those tactics. How's that for being literal? To bring the project to a successful conclusion. In order to offer your products or services to your clients or internal stakeholders, the execution phase entails carrying out the requirements of your project charter. The first step is to plan the project. The project is then put into action. No matter how well you prepare, your project will fail unless you put your ideas into action. Your team will handle the majority of the activities throughout the execution phase. It's a tight line to walk because you need to offer your staff adequate autonomy while also ensuring that everything runs smoothly. While workflow proceeds, task owners begin work and the project manager ensures that those tasks are completed on time. Now that we know the term project execution, we shall now understand the question. Why is project execution required? Once the project is up and running, keeping track of and monitoring every aspect of it can make a difference in whether it succeeds or fails. According to the Project Management Institute, remaining on budget, completing work on time, and avoiding scope creep are the criteria that determine whether a project will succeed. It's probably best to phrase it this way: no matter how well you plan your projects and how much time you spend in pre-launch meetings, expect things to go wrong. If you do, you'll be in a better position to manage and fix it, ensuring that your project stays on track. This is when the project's execution comes into play. It keeps track of your project in real time so you can address problems right away rather than waiting until the end to see where money was squandered, or your team was taking too long to meet a milestone. Today, when trouble is brewing, you need real-time data, real-time monitoring, and real-time alarms, not lag time measures that disguise the real issues for 24 hours or more. If an issue emerges, you must be aware of it as soon as possible. The goal of the project execution phase is the same whether the project your team is working on is scheduled to last 2 weeks or 2 months. Executing the project's scope of work. Organizing the work of the team. Acting in real time to correct course if the project encounters problems. Budgeting and cost control. Maintaining client communication by holding regular status meetings to ensure that everyone on your team is on the same page and the project continues on track. On time and on budget completion of the project. Remember that the implementation phase is almost always the longest and most difficult aspect of the project, regardless of how much time you spend planning it. The execution will determine if your project succeeds or fails. That's why you'll require a project execution strategy. Now that you have understood the importance of project execution, we shall now discuss project execution process. You'll need to establish various project management techniques to monitor and govern the project during this phase. These procedures aid in managing time, money, quality, change, risks, and concerns. They also aid with procurement, customer acceptance, and communication management. Execution and Control's main goal is to build deliverables according to the master project plan and evaluate the procedures and plans involved in delivering the output according to the agreed upon standards. It's all about taking action and going in the right way. The following actions will be performed during the execution phase. The priority or order is entirely determined by the project's nature and organizational norms and preferences. Nonetheless, They must be completed for the project to be completed successfully. The entire goal is to produce deliverables of some kind, which happens during the execution phase. Essentially, work is carried out following the project plan, which is then monitored, and the results are related to the individuals in charge of the plan so that it can be changed to reflect progress. This includes what is called project execution processes. So, let us now discuss them. So, to begin with, you guys are aware that the project lifecycle has 5 phases. With that, there are about 49 processes and 10 knowledge areas. Out of this, 7 knowledge areas, namely, integration management, quality management, resource management, communication management, risk management, requirements management, and stakeholder management, consider the execution phase. These knowledge areas have multiple processes, which include the execution phase. Integration management includes direct and manage project work, manage project knowledge. Quality management includes manage quality. Resource management includes acquiring resources, developing teams, manage teams. Communication management includes manage communications. Risk management includes implement risk responses. Procurements management includes conduct procurements. Stakeholder management includes manage stakeholder engagement. Also, each process mentioned here has respective inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs. So, let us go through these specific knowledge areas and the process involved in a detailed manner. The first knowledge area to have execution is integration management. This involves 2 processes called direct and manage project work, manage project knowledge that includes execution, coming to direct and manage project work. So, coming to inputs, we have a project management plan, which means the plan required to run efficient project management. As per PMBOK, it may include any component. Then, we have project documents as our input, which refers to the documents of a project. This particular input includes a change log and lessons learned register, milestone list, project communications, project schedule, requirements traceability matrix followed by risk register, and risk report. Then, we have approved change requests, which is a sort of change request that has gone through a series of integrated change management processes. Then, enterprise environmental factors, which include internal and external environmental elements that might influence a project's success, such as organizational culture, are examples of enterprise environmental factors. The structure of the company. Political climate both inside and beyond the country. And in the end, we have organizational process assets. PMBOK defines this as the plans, processes, policies, procedures, and knowledge bases specific to and used by the performing organization. Now, coming to tools and techniques, we have expert judgment. It is a project planning strategy that involves making decisions based on ability, competence, or specialized knowledge in a certain field. Then, we have project management information systems, which are the logical structure of the information needed to complete projects properly. Then, in the end, we have meetings. Coming to the outputs, we have deliverables, which is a tangible output of a project. Then, we have work performance data. In simple terms, work performance data is the unprocessed observations of the work in progress. Then, we have change requests, a formal request for a change to a product or system. In project management, a change request occurs when a client requests an addition or modification to the project's agreed upon deliverables. Then, we have project management plan updates as our next output. Then, we have project document updates, including activity list, assumption log, lessons learned register, requirements documentation, risk register, stakeholder register. And, in the end, we have organizational process assets updates. The next process that includes execution in the integration management is managing the project. Now let us trace out the ethos for the same. First, on the input side, we have a project management plan similar to the other process, but all the components are included here. Then we have project documents, including lessons learned register, project team assignments, resource breakdown structure, source selection criteria, and stakeholder register. The next input is deliverables followed by enterprise environmental factors followed by organizational process assets. Now, coming to outputs, firstly, we have an expert judgment that is already explained. Then, we have knowledge management, which is used to meet project managers' information needs. Next, a programmatic technique is required that brings together personnel, procedures, tools, and, unquestionably, knowledge. Then, we have integration management and interpersonal and team skills, including active listening, facilitation, leadership, networking, and political awareness. Finally, coming to the outputs, we have lessons learned register and project management plan updates that may include any component, followed by organizational process assets updates. The next knowledge area is quality management, and the process involving execution is managed quality. The inputs are a project management plan, which includes a quality management plan. The next input is project documents, including lessons learned register, quality control measurements, quality metrics, and risk report. And the last input is organizational process assets. Now coming to the tools and techniques, first, we have data gathering, which includes checklists. Then, we have data analysis, including alternative analysis, document analysis, process analysis, and root cause analysis. Next, we have decision-making that includes multi-criteria decision-making. Then, we have data representation, including activity diagrams, cause and effect diagrams, flowcharts, histograms, matrix diagrams, and scatter diagrams. Then, we have audits, designs for X, followed by problem solving and quality improvement methods. Now, coming to the outputs, firstly, we have test and evaluation documents. Then we have change requests. Next, project management plan updates include quality management plan, scope baseline, schedule baseline, and cost baseline. At last, we have project documents updates that include issue log, and lessons learned register, and risk register. The next knowledge area is resource management. The first process under this is to acquire resources. To begin with, the inputs under this is a project management plan that includes a resource management plan, procurement management plan, and cost baseline. The next input is project documents. This includes project schedules, resource calendars, resource requirements, and stakeholder registers. Next, we have enterprise environmental factors as input, followed by organizational process assets. Coming to tools and techniques, firstly, we have decision-making that includes multi-criteria decision analysis. Then we have interpersonal and team skills that include negotiation. Next, we have pre-assignment followed by virtual teams. Now, coming to outputs, we have physical resource assignments, project team assignments, and resource calendars, and change requests. Then, we have project management plan updates that include a resource management plan and cost baseline. Then we have project documents updates that include lessons learned register, project schedule, resource breakdown structure, resource requirements, risk register, and stakeholder register. In the end, we have enterprise environmental factors updates and organizational process assets updates. The second process under this knowledge area is to develop a team. The inputs under this process is a process management plan that includes a resource management plan. Then, we have project documents that include the lessons learned register, project schedule, project team assignments, resource calendars, and team charter. Then we have organizational process assets followed by organizational process assets. Now, coming to tools and techniques, we first have collocation followed by virtual teams and communication technology. Then, interpersonal and team skills include conflict management, influencing, motivation, negotiating, and team building. Then, we have recognition and rewards followed by training, individual and team assessments, and meetings. Concerning the outputs, firstly, we have team performance assessments with change requirements. Then, we have project management plan updates that include resource management plans. Next, project documents updates that include. Now let us take a look into the last process under this knowledge area, managing a team. Coming to inputs, firstly, we have a project management plan that includes a resource management plan. Next, we have project documents, including the issue log, lessons learned register, project team assignments, and team charter. Next, we have work performance reports, team performance reports followed by environmental enterprise factors and organizational process assets. Coming to tools and techniques, we have interpersonal and team skills that include conflict management, decision-making, emotional intelligence, influencing, and leadership. In the end, we have project management information systems. Concerning outputs, firstly, we have change requests. Then, we have project management plan updates that include resource management plan, stakeholder baseline, and cost baseline. Then we have project documents updates that include issue logs and lessons learned registered with project team assignments. Finally, in the end, we have enterprise environmental factors updates. The next area of knowledge is communication management. The process is to manage communications. On the input side, we have a project management plan that includes resource management plan, continuous management plan, and stakeholder engagement plan. Next, we have project documents, including a change log, issue log, lessons learned register, quality report, risk report, and stakeholder register. After that, we have a work performance report followed by enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. Coming to the tools and techniques, we have communication methods and communication technology. Then we have communication skills that include communication competence, feedback, nonverbal and presentations. Then we have project management information systems and project reporting. Next, we have interpersonal and team skills that include active listening, conflict management, cultural awareness, meeting management, networking, and political awareness. At the end we have meetings. Coming to the outputs, firstly, we have project communications. Then we have project management plan updates that include communications management plan and stakeholder engagement plan. Then we have project document updates that include issue log, lessons learned register, project schedule, risk register, and stakeholder register. In the end, we have organizational process assets updates. The next area of knowledge and risk management and the process is to implement risk responses. Coming to the input section, we have a project management plan that includes a risk management plan. Then we have project documents that include lessons and learned register, and risk report. In the end, we have organizational process assets. We have expert judgment, interpersonal, and team skills concerning tools and techniques, including influencing and project management information systems. Finally, coming to outputs, we have change requests and project documentation updates that include issue log, lessons learned register, project team assignments, risk register, and risk report. The next area of knowledge is requirements management, and the process is conduct requirements. Coming to the inputs, we have a project management plan that includes a scope management plan, requirements management plan, communications management plan, risk management plan, and procurement management plan, configuration management plan, and cost baseline. Then we have project documents that include lessons learned register, project schedule, requirements documentation, risk register, and stakeholder register. Next, we have procurement documentation, seller proposals, enterprise environment factors followed by organizational process assets. Next, coming to the tools and techniques, we have expert judgment, advertising, bidder conferences, data analysis that includes proposal evaluation, and interpersonal and team skills that include negotiation. Finally, coming to the outputs, we have selected sealers, agreements, change requests. Then we have project management plan updates that include requirements management plan, quality management plan, communications, risk management plan, procurement management plan, scope baseline, schedule baseline, cost baseline. Next, we have project document updates that include lessons learned register, requirements documentation, requirements traceability matrix, resource calendars, risk register, stakeholder register. In the end, we have organizational process assets updates. The last knowledge area that includes execution is managing stakeholder engagement. The inputs include a project management plan, including a communication management plan, risk management plan, stakeholder engagement plan, change management plan. Then we have project documents that include a change log, issue log, lessons learned register, and stakeholder register. Next, we have enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. In the tools and techniques, we have expert judgment, communication skills that include feedback. Then we have interpersonal and team skills that include conflict management, cultural awareness, negotiation, observation, and political awareness. Then we have golden rules and meetings. Finally, coming to the outputs, we have change requests and project management plan updates that include communications management plan and stakeholder management plan. In the end, we have project documents updates that include a change log, issue log, lessons learned register, and stakeholder register. Once the project execution process is discussed, we need to know the steps to execute the same. So, let us now talk about the stages of project execution. To perform the execution phase in project lifecycle management, certain stages are to be followed. Now let us take a detailed look at them. The first stage is: start with a project executing meeting. Hold a team meeting to ensure everyone is on the same page instead of jumping right into a project after all of the preliminary preparation is completed. Project execution meetings are no longer the same as the weekly catch-ups you have with your team. That's because there's a lot to cover. You'll need to go over the project schedules, deliverables, scope, and finances in depth with your team. Everyone participating in the project, from stakeholders to designers to team leaders, should attend the meeting to learn about the project timeline and express any concerns or issues. You must finish the project plan once everyone has received their meeting invitations. Next, Manage everything. It's impossible to complete a project on schedule if you don't keep track of its development. When Wellington questioned how companies track their projects, 55% stated they didn't have real-time KPIs, making tracking project outputs and budgets impossible. In addition, many firms admitted that they were still manually creating project reports, making it impossible to detect problems in real time. During the project planning phase, it's critical to set quantifiable targets and KPIs, including cycle time, resource capacity, and budget variance. Then, once the project begins, you should monitor these KPIs against your objectives in real time to ensure that the project stays on track. You'll need to check in with your team regularly if you're managing your project. During the project execution phase, we recommend two approaches. Keeping an eye on scope creep is another crucial aspect of project execution. A client may request additions not included in the original scope or insist on a slew of adjustments that swiftly deplete your project's budget. Then we have monitor every step. No project, no matter how well it was planned, will be risk-free. That is why you must prepare for risks and have a plan in place to deal with them when they occur. For example, if you have a small staff, a sick employee might throw a major wrench in the works. If your team works from an office, there's a possibility that a fire will cause weeks of downtime. Preventing and managing these hazards is best accomplished by interview stakeholders to learn about hazards that have harmed the organization or team in the past. Then, using a situational analysis framework like PESTLE, identify external dangers. Examine your project planning documents to determine the project's underlying hazards. Then make a list of any potential dangers to your project and devise a strategy for dealing with them. That way, if something unexpected happens, you'll have already performed the critical tasks. This stage is important because risk monitoring is a time-consuming and mind-numbing task. When you uncover hazards, you may add them to a list, assign them a likelihood, and weigh the impact they would have on your projects using a program like Teamwork. The last stage is verify the things before project delivery. Making sure you sign off on everything is the final step in the project execution process. As the project manager, it is your responsibility to test, accept, and approve each project component before handing it over to your client. Keep in mind that mistakes are inevitable. However, it is your responsibility to catch them during the project's final phase so that the final output is devoid of errors, flaws, and defects. The good news is that if you have a well-planned project execution plan in place, you won't have to worry about late deliverables or over-budgeting, which means you'll have more time to double-check every project in your pipeline. Now you guys are familiar with the project execution process and stages, we shall look into project execution strategies. The project management body of knowledge, PMBOK, states that the executing process consists of those processes performed to complete the work defined in the project management plan to satisfy the project specifications. As a result, this is the point at which project management becomes an art form. However, a project encounters numerous problems and difficulties to be completed properly. These issues act as a stumbling block between strategy and execution. Thus, certain strategies are essential to execute projects effectively. First, we have create an efficient team. Many distinct elements contribute to the project's completion speed and time or even faster project milestones. One such factor is a team with excellent performance capabilities. Let's face it, you can't have all of the best members on your team, but if you're prepared to push yourself to the limit, you can make every person on your team the best accessible. As a manager, your job is to convert and train your employees to have the most efficient workforce possible. Many often, people are unaware of their abilities until they are forced to use them. Then, all they need is a push from you. Next, we have listen to leads. The project managers cannot see into the future and predict risks and challenges. However, thanks to their hard work and expertise, they have developed a spider sense, which allows them to detect a threat or issue while in their microforms and, unlike Spider-Man, evade it before it harms them. Furthermore, the manager must be capable of listening to the members. Listening is a fundamental ability that is required for effective communication and project management. Some issues are beyond your area of expertise, and your team's aggregate experience can assist you in overcoming these obstacles. The last strategy is be flexible. You've probably heard that change is unavoidable, but we still have a hard time accepting it. If you can't avoid or control anything, adjust to it. Furthermore, a project manager will work on a variety of projects. Therefore, he must be adaptable to change and able to integrate into any project. Some of the skills that a project manager must possess are nimbleness, adaptability, and the ability to course correct their initiatives. That game plan is known as project execution in project management, and it's a step-by-step explanation of how you'll maintain a project on track, on budget, and schedule. Everything from the project scope to a deliverable plan should be included in your project execution. Thus, it is now a great asset in project management. I hope you guys are now clear with all the information about project execution. If you are interested in knowing more about this, you can take Invensis Learning's project management course and build your knowledge. Check the description to know more about this. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the comments section. Also, do subscribe to our channel to watch the videos of your interests. Thank you.